You know, think about it for a second. And I'm gonna be a little bit, I don't want your eyes to glaze over, but everybody needs to know these facts. The reality is that right now, 21% of total national income is going to the top 1%. Now compare that to the 1970s. In the late 1970s, 9% of total national income was going to the top 1%. Right now, the top 1% owns about 35% of America. The 400 richest families in America own more of America than the bottom 150 million people in America.
Yep.
Now what this means, look at what this means is, do I say that again?
Yeah, that's worth repeating.
Okay. This is important.
400 families.
The 400 richest people in America own more of America in terms of wealth than the bottom 150 million put together. Now what about the tax rate again? The taxes are lower on them than they have been in over 30 years. We are now at a time in this country's history when we have a huge budget deficit, and average working people are being asked to sacrifice enormously. And here's another very important data. Barbara, you got to get this down? No, you got it down. Oh, the rest of that. Top 400 individuals. Let's go individuals. Richest 400 individuals have greater wealth than the bottom 150 million. Combined. But the other thing I want everybody to focus on is right now, 37% of families with young children in this country are in poverty. 37% of families with young children in this country are in poverty. We have not seen that degree of poverty in this country. In the face of the richest country, we are the richest country in history. We're richer than we've ever been. Don't fall for the line that we're poor. We are rich. But we've got to act like a rich country. We've got to be a rich country. We've got to be the great country we always have been. This is why your movement, our movement, the Occupy movement, is really about American patriotism. It's about us caring about each other. We don't believe that this country is about just individuals who care about themselves. We believe this country is about opportunity, investment in education and infrastructure, making sure right now we could have a WPA, a Civilian Conservation Corps. We could be putting to work millions of the people who right now have no jobs. There's no reason we don't. Other question. Look at Wall Street. Wall Street succeeded in putting enough loopholes in that Wall Street financial regulation that it is really not yet regulated. We need to resurrect the Glass-Steagall Act. We need to put a sharp boundary. You know, isn't it amazing? Here's an example. A few years ago, if you said Glass-Steagall Act, nobody would know what you're talking about. The fact that I can say it and you all applaud.
Well, what is it?
I don't know.
Okay, the Glass-Steagall Act separates commercial from investment banking.
Yes.
It says if you are a depositor and you're putting your money in the bank, your money is not going to be used for gambling. Your money is not going to be used for speculative purposes in the great casino called the financial market. And we need to have that barrier. Otherwise, what's going to happen is what just happened with Bank of America. They took a lot of their risky derivatives. Now, derivatives, don't get your eyes glazed over. Derivatives are just bets. They're just bets on financial transactions. They took some of the riskiest derivatives and put it into a division that has a lot of your deposits and my deposits if we're Bank of America.
It was 75 trillion, wasn't it?
Yes.
How do you see this movement moving forward politically without the Democrats coming in and hijacking?
How do you move forward politically without the Democrats hijacking this movement? Well,
Move on.
the way to do that is to continue to do exactly what you are doing. Continue to spread the word. You see, there are a lot of lies out there right now. One of the biggest lies, for example, is that corporations need tax cuts in order to create jobs. I mean, really, seriously, that's what's being said. Corporations need tax cuts in order to create jobs. Well, the fact of the matter is, corporations are sitting on $2 trillion worth of cash right now. And they also, the ratio of corporate profits to wages is higher than it's been since before the Great Depression. Corporations do not need extra cash or regulatory relief or tax cuts to create jobs. The other big lie out there I keep hearing is trickle-down economics. Well, you say boo, boo, but you know, it's like a big lie. The big lie,
is a big lie.
The secret to the big lie is if you tell it over and over and over again, people start to believe it. And that's why this movement and all of you have got to rebut the big lie. You've got to say, no, trickle-down economics is a fraud. You cut taxes on the very wealthy, and nothing trickles down. In fact, after George W. Bush cut taxes on the very wealthy, what happened? Median wage started to drop in this country. People start to lose jobs.
What about...
Yes.
Doesn't the system of capitalism and the so-called free market encourage, incentivize greed?
The question is, doesn't our system, our economic system, encourage greed? Well, it doesn't always, and it doesn't have to. If you take the greed out of Wall Street, you're left with pavement. But that doesn't mean everybody. I mean, you know, your friends, my friends, people who have small shops, people who are doing things in collectives, people who are trying to work hard and be good citizens and pay for their family. They're not doing it out of greed. They're doing it because they need to, or because some people actually like what they do. So it doesn't absolutely have to be greed. In fact, what we need to do is create an economy that is based on morality. An economy in which we are not working for the economy is working for us.
Yes.
That's what can be created. Yes.
Keep the megaphone up to your...
Keep the megaphone up, yeah.
You were part of the Clinton administration, and Bill Clinton cut Glass-Steagall. Do you know why that was done since you were there?
The question was why in the Clinton administration did, in 1999, they get rid of the Glass-Steagall Act. I left in 1997, and I don't know. I was opposed to that. In fact, I think it was a terrible decision.
Robert?
Yes.
Similar to how Gandhi kicked out the British.
I'm sorry?
Similar to how Gandhi was able to kick out the British. He begged the people of India to go on a civil disobedience in terms of not going to work, not even leaving the house. Wouldn't that idea of not showing up for work and everybody around the world coming together and saying we're not going to feed the machine, as well as not buy anything that one day?
Let me repeat what was just said, because I think that's a very important thing. One way in which this movement can show its strength is to organize a national strike.
International.
Which is basically a strike against buying anything.
Not leaving the house.
And maybe not even leaving the house, but it's basically as a strike, it's a non-violent, passive disobedience. It says we are not going to, for one day, we're just going to show our strength for one day, and let's see what happens if nobody participates in this one day.
For one day.
Well, let's spread the word. It is critically important, and I can see some of you, you're my age, you remember the civil rights struggle, and you remember the struggle against Vietnam. What is very important to remember is you need discipline, you need patience, and you need nonviolence.
Yes.
For those who are outside critics who say, well, what do you stand for and what are your demands? You tell them, be patient. Because like the civil rights movement and like every other major movement in history, those demands percolate. Yeah. We know what we are about broadly. We know we want a more just society. We know things have gotten completely skewed and out of whack. But specifically what we want or what you want, that will happen. That's coming. We don't want just a list of demands. Yes.
You say we need to save the system. Considering how partisan our politics are right now and how lobbyists are so influential in politics, can our democratic process system right now support that to achieve, reform?
Well, you're asking, can the democratic process that is completely paralyzed, with one party, basically Republicans, saying no to anything that the Democrats come up with, and some Democrats almost as bad as the Republicans, how can we change fundamentally politics? The only way politics in this country changes over time is from the grassroots. The only way Washington changes is if people outside Washington make so much of a ruckus, non-violently, but enough of a ruckus that Washington can't help but pay attention. Okay, I am being asked to put this up in the air.